and welcome along and welcome back to Attingham Park. Today we are going to be continuing with the harvest. I want to get the remains of 12B done. We don't have any other fields that are ready to harvest, unfortunately. So we'll get 12B done, and I think we'll try and clear the fields off of the straw that we've got on them. So get the baler out, get the fields baled up, and get all that sorted. We have all of this field to do, so there's quite a bit left. I think the combine is empty, so we'll just park this tractor here and jump into this. And oh no, we're not quite empty, but we are in a position where we can keep going. Drop that down, switch over, turn the thresher on, and I'm going to put the auger in because, yeah, we'll continue on here. I think we had a full trailer at the end of last time. And, yeah, that's where we finished off. We should be absolutely fine, though, to keep going on here for a bit, even though we were about 25% full. It'll be fine because we have the tractor and trailer sitting there waiting for us. A big thank you to everybody for your feedback in the comments last time. Lots of great suggestions for what we should do on the gardens and how we should move forward with those. Very much still thinking that I'm going to get rid of one of them and then reposition the other before we continue. I think that is definitely the way to go. I want to make sure that we empty out the both of them first, though. We've got a fair amount of seeds and a fair amount of the fertilizer in there, and going forwards, if we can empty and use all of that up, what I should be able to do is go and get the manure to do the gardens with, and do it that way. And that way it'll save us money on getting that. A couple of people did suggest that I should change some of the things I'm growing. So grow some soybeans, I think it was suggested, for the protein part of it, or the main food part of it, and do some other bits and pieces. We'd still have to go and do something like potatoes or sugar beet if we wanted to fully feed the pigs. And to be perfectly honest, we worked out very early on we make more money from selling the crops than we do from well, we kind of have an issue with how much it would cost us to feed the pigs if we end up growing crops to feed them. So our best bet is actually to end up doing the gardens. The gardens don't cost us a huge amount of money. It's a cheaper way of doing it. And it means we're not buying a ridiculous amount of pig food, which was the problem. And means we always have food for the pigs as well. So that's why I've gone with the gardens. But I think we're gonna be a little bit easier on how we use them, and we don't really want to be spending too much on them anyway. So I think the best route forward as far as the gardens go is to keep them going, have one of them, and then just make sure that we're not overfilling it, and therefore producing way more than we need, and ending up with an element of too much of that stuff kicking around that we then have to go and fiddle about with and sell. I'd kind of like to avoid doing that. We have a nice full tank on the combine, so we can get 2 of these in this trailer. And this combine and this tractor and this trailer are a great combination. I really, really love how well these 3 work together, and have worked together since the start of this series. Yes, we changed the combine out fairly early, but this tractor, I think, was the first tractor we got on here. And yeah, with this trailer, and they just work so well together. It's just absolutely brilliant. Somebody did ask me why I cut in on the field, why I go and do a line in halfway through the crop, and it's purely for efficiency. You can see here we had the tractor in the middle of the area we were cutting, and therefore we had less distance to go with the tractor. We have less distance to turn between rows. It all works out really, really well for doing the most efficient harvest that we can. So yeah, that is why I cut into the crop, and why I will be doing a cut into the crop on the next row, because we've come to the end of this one. We're getting a fairly impressive yield off here. I think it's all sitting at about the 95 to 100% mark, which is great. I mean, absolutely fantastic to have such a good yield off here. And that is going to produce us a fairly large whack of money with what we're getting off here. I'm also really liking our field sizes at this point. It's about the right size for us to seed properly and cut and everything. And we, you know, we should be through this field today. If we're through it by midday, which will easily be, that would mean that we had enough time to do a second field. The unfortunate thing is that we don't have a second field to cut. So we're not going to be able to do that. However, we may be able to save ourselves some time later in the year and get these fields baled up, and save ourselves having to worry about that before we do any replanting. Although we're not going to be doing, so we'll be putting winter wheat in again. I think with our cycle, that is probably going to be 12C. I think it goes in after the sorghum rather than after the canola. I need to double check and work out my rotation, but I'm fairly sure these fields were canola last year and need to be sorghum next year, which kind of tells me what my rotation is. We have a second full tank on the combine, and as a result, we're going to have to go and tip our first trailer full off here today. Looking at this, I think we've probably got another trailer to get off here. Let's have a quick look at where we are. Yeah, we're nearly halfway through the field, and if I look at this, I think, based on what we've done today, we've probably got another trailer full to get off here, which is great. Let's have a quick look at how the yield is going on here. Yield is pretty good. Nothing. So most of the field is 100%, and the remainder is 95%. So a nearly perfect yield off here, which is brilliant. That is going to it's going to produce a lot of wheat, which is fantastic. We're at 92% full, so I'm going to tip this and then we'll continue on with the harvest. But this is going really, really well, and I couldn't be happier with our yields off here. This is silty clay. This is awful land, and it's producing a really good crop. I'm really interested to see when we go and cut the spring wheat that we've got on 2A, exactly how that's going to fare, and whether we'll get 125% yield off that. Quite pleased with my cutting in on here, in that I've managed to give myself a nice wide final section at the side of the field here, but it's not so wide that I'm worried about missing bits. I've got a good clearance on this side, I've got good clearance on that side, and as a result, it's just made it so much easier to harvest this section of the field. We are getting a little bit bumpy in parts in the middle of this field. It's a little bit weird from that point of view. My combine keeps bouncing up and down a bit, but it seems to stop it now. It was doing it definitely on the way back, and you can see it doing it occasionally. Look at that. That is a really, really nice cut through there, and lift the header so we don't pick up any straw at the end. And then just one more row down here, and then we'll cut in again, and that might be the last cut in. It's only going to be the last full cut in, because 6 rows out of that is going to be, well, most of it, if not all of it. And here we're looking at being about maybe 80% full by the end of this row. So that would be really good. That would then meet up with the expectation that we're going to get another full trailer off this field. I've realised why some of the yield around here is a little bit patchy. It's because we have got a lot of weeds in this field. And the 95% drop, that is most likely due to the weeds and the big patches of weeds we have in this wheat. So all in all, that's not bad. That means we managed to get this silty clay up to a 100% target on the yield, which is no mean feat. I'm very, very pleased with that. Right, lift that up. And that is... oh, wow. I was really worried when I went into that row as to whether I was going to have enough space in the combine to actually complete the row, and we are, yeah, not many litres off having a full tank. We very nearly didn't make it to the end of that row and would have had to have backed the whole way out. That's not the kind of risk you really want to take, to be honest. If you're like 70% full and you're doing a cut-in, you'll want to empty out before you go and do it. But we have managed to make it to the end, thankfully, with about 30 litres of space in the tank. So when it was close, it was really close, and I'm very, very happy that I managed to make it out, was able to turn around and empty here without having to back the combine all the way back out. I'm amazed by how far the sorghum still needs to grow. I know it's a very quick growing crop, so I'm expecting it to have fully grown by September, but it is, yeah, it is quite a lot of growing that sorghum still has to do. Whereas the canola is beginning to look a bit ripe on, certainly, maybe not the next field over, but there's some yellow flowers on some of our other fields. So that's looking a lot better. It's just, if either of them, if any of our fields, well, we need 3 to 4 fields ready next month to harvest. We're going to have to harvest 2 a day to keep on top of things. And yeah, if we don't have 4 fields ready to harvest next month, it's going to be tough. We're going to be very, very pushed. I'm hoping all of the canola is going to be ready. I'm looking at the canola and going, I'm not sure it is. And yeah, this is very nerve-wracking, because if I have to do 4 or 2 fields a day in September when we're really up against it, there is going to be no margin for error at all, and that is going to make things so much more difficult to get all of our harvest done this year. I am liking how easy the wheat harvest is going at the moment, and the winter wheat has come along nicely. With 3 fields of winter wheat next year, it will be really easy, because yeah, we will be on that 3 fields per month target that we've got overall. And it looks like as well we do have 6 rows here. This is our second row on this side with 1 to go, and that is our, no, is this our third row? This isn't our, yeah, and that will be our 3rd row on the other side. So yeah, 6 rows to finish off this field, and looks like we've got a pretty perfect field size here too. I'm very, very pleased with this. This is working out wonderfully well, especially as I think these are 2 manageable widths. That's not a full width on the combine, but it is one that we can easily get, and doesn't cause us an issue in that it's, you know, using a lot of fuel or anything to do it. We are at 99%. In fact, we've hit 100%, which is what I try and avoid doing, because it turns off the thresher, and I don't want the thresher to turn off. The comb turning off would be fine. The thresher turning off is a problem, because we have to get that all started up again. But this is going to take us up to about 90%, 92% full on the trailer. But I think there's probably only just enough left on here to top the trailer up. So it is looking like it's going to be one of my estimates being right for once. But not in the way I envisioned. I thought it was basically going to be 2 full tanks off the combine. It isn't. It looks like it's going to be 2 full tanks off the combine plus a little bit, which should top up our trailer. We've got space in our tractor for about 1,500 litres. So we are already up to 300 litres with an entire road to go. We may end up with more wheat here than we can fit in the remaining space on the trailer. We'll see when we get to the end of it. Well, we're over 1,500 litres. I think we have space for about 1,700. We've gone over 1,700 litres. We're going to have a couple of 100 litres left in the combine, which is... I'd rather have too much than not enough. Yeah, we've got 2,000 litres off here, which is very, very nice. More than I'd expected at the end of this field, which doesn't often happen. And so we'll top up the trailer here. We've got, yeah, I think this holds 14,500 litres, this trailer. So just the last little bit in, and we'll have to head up to the yard and tip it. Yeah, 14,500 litres. There's still a little bit left in our combine. What I'll do is take this up to the yard and get it tipped. The next field we're going to be doing is going to be 2A. So we want to get the combine up that way anyway, and we can empty out this last little bit as we go through the farmyard, I think. 896 litres left in the combine, which is far more than I'd expected our combine to still have. So that's good. That's really good. I want to have a look in a moment and see how much winter wheat we've got off the farm this year. But I think that's going to be a really, really good amount that we've got. We'll park this here for the moment. Auger is in, so let's get that back out. Yeah, and then we can bring the tractor and trailer round and get that tipped. So we'll bring this around, get this emptied out, and then once we got the combine in the right place, ready for doing the spring wheat when we come round to that, we can then go and get started with our 8340 on the baling, I think. The last 896 litres in. Won't take very long to tip this. Up it goes and in. How much have we got in total? 70,000 litres off 2 fields. That's a really, really good amount of wheat to get us started on here. I'm absolutely ecstatic about that. Right, we are going to go and get the combine and this tractor over to the next field ready for tomorrow. And then we'll pick up with the 8340 and start getting the straw that we've got in those 2 fields baled up. I've got my John Deere 690 baler on the back of the 8340 here, and we should be able to just whip around these fields fairly quickly. Unfold the back of it. I'm not sure I can get these collected up today, but if we can, we will. All kind of depends on how quickly we can get around. We're well repaired on this tractor. Yeah, we're well repaired and we've got plenty of fuel. So this should just be a case now of going around the field or running around the field, creating some nice big bales. And yeah, I don't know what we're going to do with the bales this year. Actually, I'm still going to put them in the shed. We're not using them very quickly. But if we find we need a little bit of extra cash, then we can always go and do that and bring them into there. Lift up the pickup, reverse back onto here, and yeah, we're going to get these fields baled up nice and early, which was quite a problem for us last year. There are lots of advantages to using a square baler. I really like how easy square bales are to stack compared to round bales. I really like the fact that you don't have to stop, that you can just keep going and let the bales come out the back. But the one downside to them, especially when you're doing headlands, is that you can't control necessarily where the bales drop. So going around the headlands, you can easily drop a bale on or right in the way of where you go. And that's why a lot of farmers, what they'll do is they'll bale up the headlands, collect all of the bales off the headlands, and then do the main body of the field. I'm not going to do that here. We are dropping bales actually in fairly good places for us. Nothing that's blocking us at the moment, so we're good for there. I think this next one will probably drop a bit closer to this corner of the field here. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's gonna drop right there, in fact, which is absolutely perfect for us. And then with two headlands gone, we're going to be able to just go up and down, and it won't matter where they drop now. But it is always a worry. Is a bale going to drop in a place that is just going to be completely in the way for me? And it's why I don't always like very much doing the baling on courseplay, because you never know when your courseplay course might end up hitting a bale somewhere around the field. For ease of maneuverability, I'm doing alternate rows again. So we'll make our way across the field one way and then back and come and finish on this side with that road there. 7th gear seems to be about right to run this on here. It's got a little bit of elevation to it, this field. There's a little bit of a hill to it on one side. So I need to watch exactly which gear I'm in. But it's sitting about 20,000 revs, 18 to 20,000 revs in 7th. But drop down to 6th. We sit on 20. Okay, I think 6th might be better then. Keep those revs nice and high and able to keep powering our baler behind us. Part of me kind of hopes we could get some slurry or manure down on these fields this year. I don't know if we have enough to do it, and I don't know if we have the time to do it. That's the big one. Right, turn that off. Drop out those last 2 bales. Perfect. So yeah, if we could clear all these fields off, we might have the time, but I think it's unlikely. I think certainly for the wheat, getting the winter wheat in, we won't have time to get any of that onto the field. Especially as we know from prior experience, we need to do that before we mulch the fields. So it's going to be something that's not really possible for us to do. And yeah, we'd have to buy the equipment or lease the equipment to do it. And I'm not sure we can do that either. It would be fairly expensive to get set up as a, or set up with, well actually, I'd like to get set up with the pumps and hoses stuff if we can, but I think it'd be too expensive. We'll have a look. We'll see if we have the time, and if we have the time, I think what we might do is see if we are able to actually afford to set it up. Is canola off to my right? I think that's canola, isn't it? Oh no, that's sorghum. So if that's sorghum, what is over the other side? Is that must be canola, which is incredibly worrying. So what is in this bottom field? Let's have a quick check and see. So yeah, so 12A, that sorghum is actually really close to harvest. Amazingly, it is the only one. What have we got in these fields? So that's canola down the bottom. And its growth stage is a lot less. This is going to be interesting. I don't quite know exactly where that's going to leave us. It's possible we could end up with a huge mix of crops on the final day. But yeah, that is not what I expected. I did not think it was going to be the canola at that side of the field there, and not the sorghum. Sorghum is almost ready there. The canola in the middle of the farm is almost ready by the looks of things. But this canola here, this is a long way off. Yeah, it's canola. It's growing. It's nowhere near. And I was expecting to harvest that next month. Yeah, wow. We must have... I'd have to go back and have a look. But did we go and plant our sorghum before we planted our canola this year? Because that looks really small and nowhere near ready. Headlands are done, and oh, that bale did drop out just before the end. And this is what I was talking about earlier, about not being able to control where the bales go. It can cause you problems with trying to maneuver into the main part of the field or around the main part of the field. But I've managed to maneuver around that bale. I think we've got one up the top there that might be in my way. All in all, I don't think it's going to be a huge problem, but just enough of one to acknowledge it as not being able to place my bales exactly where I want to with this baler can cause issues from time to time. I really don't know where we're going to end up with the harvest this year. It all seems to be a little bit all over the place, and I'm not quite sure what's happened to cause that sorghum to be so fully grown while that canola is still in its early stages. It's very odd. So we'll see what happens next month. We'll see what is ready to harvest. I think we're going to be harvesting sorghum after we've got the spring wheat harvested. So kind of expecting that to come up. Although we may find that the spring wheat doesn't ripen until really late in this harvest season. So that's a little bit worrying. I think we're going to have some canola soon. We've certainly got a couple of fields of that are looking ripe. I mean, you can see the yellow over there in the background that kind of indicates that that's coming close. So yeah, I don't know what we're going to be harvesting, because it's some of it is looking a little bit out of whack. The only stuff that seems to have come up when I expected it to has been this winter wheat, and yeah, we've managed to get it all harvested in plenty of time. In fact, in enough time for me to get it baled up before we move on. So that's good news at the very least. How it pans out after this is anybody's guess. Here's a perfect example of a bale that is completely and utterly in my way. I'm gonna have to try and pick up the straw here first, like that. And then if I spin around it again, now that we've picked up that, we should be able to get access to the rest of the row. And so bring this in here, bring that down there like that, and there we go. That is all of that into there. 2 more rows to go after this one, and then we'll be done for the day. We've got over 30 bales so far. I think that might just be in our 32nd that just got pressed. So yeah, lots of bales off this these 2 wheat fields. And we've got 1 wheat field to go as well. So still plenty of straw to come off. I think we might end up with between 40 and 50 bales off our 3 wheat fields this year. Which is absolutely brilliant and way more than we're going to use. So we might try and earn some extra cash with the bales this winter as well. Coming up to the end of the last row, we've got 33 bales in total off these 2 fields. Which is really good. And we've got a 1/4 of a bale sitting in the baler ready for us to use later. But all in all, that's a really good day's work. We've managed to get all of the winter wheat harvested. We have got both of the fields of straw from the winter wheat baled. Yeah, look, that canola is looking really close to being ready. It's not bright yellow yet, actually, so that might still not be quite anywhere near done. So yeah, time will tell. We'll see next time whether we actually have anything to harvest. For now, though, I'm going to leave this here. So all that remains is for me to say thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, drop us a comment, and give it a share. Special thanks to all my patrons and channel members. Your support is invaluable in making these videos and helping the channel to grow. For more from Virtual Farmer, check out the links below, follow on Twitch to watch live, and for more videos, subscribe and ring that bell. I will see you next time. Goodbye.